This is the Grand Trawler 63. It looks like a small ship built for long-range cruising, but its paperwork sets a clear limit on its ocean-going credentials. I'll show you the exact entry in a moment. It also comes with fin stabilizers that reverse at anchor, a rare feature in this class. Stay with me. I'll explain the speed at which this yacht makes sense, why its main rival costs €1 million more, and what you need to verify before signing a purchase contract. I'm Tomek Grzesiński, an independent yacht broker. I don't sell this model, and the yard doesn't pay me. I assess it as I would any yacht before a client signs. Today, the Beneteau Grand Trawler 63. The yacht promises more than 1,000 nautical miles of range, a home on the water, and the composure of a small ship. That promise has substance. Its predecessor, the Grand Trawler 62, sold 27 boats in 3 years. The 63 uses the same hull, and rightly so. It spent 300 hours in the model basin, optimized around one operating point, 9 knots. Rather than start again, the yard worked through, point by point, feedback from 27 owners. We'll return to several changes because they have real value in everyday ownership. Start with the figure that defines this yacht. Its sweet spot is 8.5 to 9 knots. At 8.5 knots, the twin 730 horsepower MANs burn 24 liters an hour, under 3 liters per nautical mile. With 3,870 liters of fuel, that gives more than 1,000 nautical miles with reserve. Marseille to Palermo without refueling. At 10.5 knots, however, fuel burn jumps to 75 liters an hour, and range halves to 500 nautical miles. Flat out at 20 knots, 3,800 liters lasts about 285 nautical miles. Consumption rises from 3 to 13.5 liters per mile. The bargain is simple. At 9 knots, it's an economical long-range yacht. At full power, it becomes a fast but expensive motor yacht with a short range. Keep that power reserve for outrunning weather, not for routine cruising. Now, the paperwork. The Grand Trawler 63 is CE Category B, not Category A. Category B covers winds up to Beaufort Force 8 and significant waves up to 4 meters. Category A is the standard for the most demanding ocean conditions. That reflects the design. The large glazing and downflooding points are not those of a genuine Category A expedition trawler. A similar size Nordhavn weighs more than twice as much, carries Category A certification, and offers 3,000 nautical miles of range. But it tops out at about 10 knots and demands a very different style of ownership and operation. That isn't a criticism, it's expectation management. The Grand Trawler 63 is a comfortable, long-range Mediterranean and coastal cruiser. It does that job very well, but the word trawler doesn't make it an expedition yacht. Now, stabilization, the predecessor's biggest weakness. Its tall hardtop superstructure rises 7 meters above the waterline. Without active stabilization, it rolled uncomfortably in a beam sea. In practice, the €94,000 gyroscopic stabilizer was almost essential. The new model fixes that. Electric Sleipner Vector fins are standard and included in the base price. At anchor, the fins rotate through 180 degrees and work in reverse, stabilizing the yacht at 0 speed. They generate gentle astern thrust that keeps tension on the anchor chain. The yacht then wanders less around its swinging circle. The fin actuators sit behind the owner's cabin bulkhead, away from the berth, so their operation shouldn't disturb your sleep. One further advantage at night. The electric fins can run from the battery bank. They can stabilize the yacht all night without the generator. A gyro in this class normally keeps the generator running until morning. So a quiet anchorage stays quiet. The fins work while the generator remains off. But this position holding mode has a limitation you need to understand before using it. I say that as a broker who has spent plenty of time at anchor. In a crowded anchorage, boats normally swing together with the wind and current. Safety depends on them behaving predictably. If your yacht holds its heading while neighboring boats swing freely, the geometry changes and the collision risk rises. Always use this mode cautiously in a crowded anchorage and keep watch. Alone in a bay, however, it's extremely useful, especially if the current may turn or there is little room between you and the rocks. It helps keep the yacht where you anchored and reduces the consequences of misjudging the conditions. That safety margin matters at sea. The second major technical change is the steering. Hydraulics are gone, replaced by Xenta steer-by-wire. Each rudder moves independently. The inside rudder takes more angle than the outside one, tightening the turning circle beyond what the yacht's mass suggests. That precision has a price. The entire steering system now relies on a digital data bus. A damaged cable or voltage drop can trigger fail-safe mode, with alarms and red warnings at the helm. The builder specifies 2 independent power supplies, so the system won't reset when the thrusters create a heavy momentary load. That matters in practice. The high freeboard, beam carried well forward, and 7-meter superstructure creates substantial windage. In a crosswind, the yacht behaves like a sail. In a 20-knot crosswind, close quarters maneuvering will depend heavily on the bow and stern thrusters, precisely when electrical demand is highest. At handover, have both steering power supplies demonstrated and test marina maneuvers under full thruster load. Leave extra room on your first windy approaches. It isn't a deal breaker. It's a characteristic you must understand. Below deck, the key specification choice is 3 cabins or 4. The 3 cabin layout gives the owner a full beam midships cabin across the 5.45 meter beam with a dressing table, generous storage and a shower seat. Motion is least noticeable amidships, making this the best place to sleep on passage. In the 4 cabin layout, that space becomes 2 guest cabins and the owner moves forward, where motion is far more pronounced. My advice is simple. Unless you plan commercial charter, choose 3 cabins. The owner sleeps aboard hundreds of nights, guests perhaps a dozen. Now the owner-led improvements. The Galley has direct access to the side deck. That gives natural ventilation, clears cooking smells faster, and shortens the route to the mooring lines. Every locker has a positive mechanical latch, so its contents stay put in a seaway until you release it. The engine room is now reached directly from the cockpit. You no longer open a transom hatch in a seaway, an exposed arrangement on the previous model. The bathing platform is rated for a 400 kilogram tender, and when lowered, steps extend from the transom to the water. Beside it, the crew cabin can double as a small beach club with a shower when no crew is carried. Now build quality. Few people realize Benetau's flagship isn't built in France. It is built at the Italian Yacht in Monfalcone, formerly responsible for Monte Carlo yachts. The interior is assembled and fully wired outside the hull on an aluminium frame, then installed as a complete module. The module sits on rubber mounts isolated from the hull. That reduces noise and joinery creaks. The trade-off may appear years later. During a major refit, the aluminium frame can obstruct access to the inner laminate. My view after seeing it. The build is solid, but the design is conservative and uninspired. It feels more like good mass-market furniture than bespoke yacht joinery. Taste is personal, but it doesn't win me over. That simplicity isn't poor quality. It's a deliberate business model. Modular construction and cost discipline keep the price around €1 million below its main rival. Let's look at the figures. One ownership note. Synthetic decking weathers in strong sun faster than the brochures suggest. Without regular cleaning and care, it can become dark and rough after 3 seasons. Add it to the maintenance plan. Don't reject the yacht for it. Now the costs, briefly, because this episode is about the yacht. The base price is about €2 million before VAT. A properly equipped, ready-to-cruise yacht with tropical air conditioning, the sound reduction package, and essential equipment lands between 2.5 and 2.75 million euros. Without crew, budget 35 to 55,000 euros a year for berthing, 15 to 20,000 for insurance, and about 25,000 for servicing. Total annual fixed costs, roughly 75 to 100,000 euros. Fuel is separate because it depends on miles run. At 9 knots, consumption is very low for a 19-meter yacht. Now compare the base prices behind that promised €1 million gap. An Absolute Navetta 64 is about 3.2 million euros, a Nordhavn 60 about 2.6 million. The Grand Trawler 63 is about 2 million euros. A Sirena 58 starts near 1.6 million, but it's noticeably tighter inside. The Navetta is faster and has its celebrated beach club, but uses pod drives, offers roughly 600 nautical miles of range, and costs over €1 million more. The Nordhavn is a true ocean yacht, but it costs more and is limited to about 10 knots. Against those rivals, the Grand Trawler 63 offers exceptional volume for the money. The largest living space here, over 1,000 nautical miles of range, and standard stabilization. Its most serious rival is in the same showroom. The Swift Trawler 54 has the same modern steering and fin stabilizers for less than half the Grand Trawler's price. If you don't need the midships cabin or the larger fuel tanks, see the Swift Trawler 54 first. Build and finish 7. The Monfalcone model gives quiet running and good fit, but the interior is conservative and the synthetic decking needs care. Practical ingenuity 8. Active fins at anchor, a galley door to the side deck, positive locker latches, and cockpit engine room access showed that the yard listened to owners. 1 point off for the lack of a light bimini. The choice is a heavy hardtop or a completely open flybridge. Seakeeping 7. It's economical and composed at displacement speed, and the standard fins control beam sea roll. Category B. Substantial windage and the tall superstructure set the limits. Cost and complexity 6. Fuel burn is very low at 9 knots, but steer-by-wire adds technical complexity and options add roughly €500,000. Residual value 8. The 27 predecessors rarely reach the brokerage market, which supports this segment's resale strength. I deduct 1 point for the early production risk attached to the new electronics. Verdict: buy, but cruise at 9 knots. Then the Grand Trawler 63 is among the best value homes on the water. Over 1,000 nautical miles of range, standard stabilization, and a genuinely comfortable owner's cabin. Choose 3 cabins, test close quarters handling in wind before handover, and have both steering power supplies demonstrated. If an Atlantic crossing is the goal, buy another yacht. Don't expect every salesperson to say that plainly. Buy it for what it is: a large, quiet, and economical yacht for living aboard and cruising the Mediterranean. Used that way, it will reward you on every mile. Next Tuesday, I'll examine another supposedly perfect model and apply the same uncompromising assessment. If you want someone on your side, not the yards, to calculate range, windage, and finance costs before you sign, that's my job. The yacht worth comparing is already on screen. Click and stay with me.